DC's Dead Planet, Book 3. I am Hossman, and welcome back. So here we go. Zatanna's not dead. I was mistaken. But she is trapped with Detective Chimp and Constantine inside a little thing that Swamp Thing made that is currently being surrounded by the force that is Plastic Man. But also outside there is Hellfire, and they're like, hey Zatanna, wake up because there's Hellfire out there. And she's like, so? There's also Plastic Man out there. And she's like, okay. And it's like, Hellfire can burn through anything, so do some magic. And they open up a little bit of the Swamp Thing shield, and Hellfire just envelopes Plastic Man, and he is all burnt up, and he's gone. They get up there, and they're trying to get in, and the zombies are still coming. Then just guns open up and just and start blowing away all the zombies. And then, you know, Swamp Thing's getting hit too, but it's like, whatever. And then they look up, and the Penguin, Oswald Cobblepot, is up there, and he's like, if you're gonna come in, I suggest now you make a run for it. And they're like, well, crap. This isn't just any old fortress, it's a fortress full of rich bastards. And they go inside, and like inside there is, like I said, the Penguin is there, Maxwell Lord is there, Simon Stagg, Professor Ivo, probably a bunch of other people. Those are really the only four we see. Jason Blood, I guess we'll get to that in a second. Back in the garden in Gotham, Superman wakes up, and Mary Marvel is there, and they're like, hey, and they kind of have a little romance thing, but not really, so it's kind of hinted that there could be one, and they're like, oh look, we're both superpowers, we like each other, it's cute. And I guess now I'll talk about it. Batman, we have Wonder Woman, we have Superman, but like I said, they're not the same. They're Damian Wayne and John Kent, and it's 5 years later, and they are aged up because it's been 5 years. But they aren't just exact replicas, you know? It's not like reading Batman, like you were seeing Batman, but he's honestly different. This Damian Wayne Batman has a little more compassion to him, and he's still as ruthless, but he's just not as cold. He's kind of like just a more fun Batman. A jovial Batman. I don't know that I'd want to read him all the time, but actually, like, I really enjoy Damian Wayne in this series, and I didn't like Damian Wayne a lot before. And it's the same for John Kent. I've never read a lot of John Kent, and I don't like the idea of John Kent. But he is Superman, and he's, like, reluctant to do it, though, in this. Like, he's not just Clark. He's not just a copy of Clark. Like, Tom Taylor does a really good job of writing him in this way, and he's just this guy, and he's like, I'm not comfortable being called Superman. And at one point, Lois was like, well, then quit living up to the name. Like, you were being a really good Superman. So it's just like that. I like the dynamic here of these guys. They're best friends, and they care about each other, and just written in a more compelling way than Superman and Batman are sometimes. So I like it. There is a cure, and everybody's like, ugh, we've spent 5 years just kind of killing all the zombies we met and the friends and stuff. So that sucks that there's a cure. It's good that there's a cure, but like, that sucks. So back in the fortress full of rich bastards, Jason Blood is the demon Etrigan, and he's like, hey Constantine, can I talk to you for a second? He turns into Etrigan, and he's like, just so you know, hell is mad. And Constantine's like, yeah, hell's supposed to be mad, that's hell. And he's like, no, like, hell is pissed off because these zombies are dead, but they're not dying, and their souls are trapped in their bodies, and hell's not getting any more souls. And Constantine's like, good. Screw hell, hell sucks. No, you don't understand, like, hell's mad, and Trigon is coming here soon to just wipe the planet off and start clean. And Constantine's like, well, that sucks, yeah. Okay. And if you don't know who Trigon is, he is like the devil. He's not the devil, but he's a devil in DC. He's like a big bad devil. So there's a big bad devil. On top of all the zombies, there's a big bad devil coming to wipe out the entire planet. And that's not the only threat. We'll find out more in a second. So there's a commotion, and Swamp Thing is like going mad because like the garden that he felt screaming out on the other side of the planet, he goes down there and discovers now it is the Floronic Man is being held and bent to their will, and he's growing all the fruit for them that they're surviving on, and they're abusing him, and he's like, stop it. And Maxwell Lord's like, I'm not taking orders from a plant, man. And you know, Swamp Thing just grabs him and crushes him and pops his skull off, so Maxwell Lord's dead. And then that's when the Penguin is like, hey, you know what, Professor Ivo? Launch out an Amazo. So an Amazo, now Amazo's a evil robot that's created by Professor Ivo, and he's got like all the powers of the Justice League. And one Amazo comes out, and Zatanna's like, hey, stop. And she stops one Amazo. They don't just have one Amazo, they have several Amazos. Swamp Thing's all pissed off. He's like, no, we gotta free the Floronic Man. And John Constantine's like, we'll come back, okay? We're gonna come back, we're gonna get all the revenge you want, but right now we can't take on these Amazos. So let's go. And he does, and then that's when the Penguin and Professor Ivo are like, hey, and they're looking down this hall with like hundreds of Amazos, and they're like, pretty soon we'll take back the world. So that's that threat I was talking about. So not only are there Superman's eating the sun, there are zombies all over the planet. Trigon is coming to wipe the planet clean. There's also a base of supervillains that have a bunch of Amazos. So I mean, there's just, things aren't looking good. Finally, we get back all the heroes, and they're saying, hey, we got a cure. We just don't know what the cure is. You know, the anti-life equation was made from Darkseid. What can we do? And they're like, okay, we need some New God technology, but how do we get that? And John Constantine's like, I have an idea, but I gotta go do something. And there's this guy that doesn't want to be bothered, but I gotta go bother him. And then we go out to the middle of nowhere, and he's got the lasso of truth, so he can prove to Mr. Miracle that there is a cure. He's like, I'm telling the truth, there's a cure. We can cure your wife, Big Barda, because Big Barda died. We also thought Mr. Miracle died, but Mr. Miracle did not die. This counter's getting lower than I thought. But yeah, they need Mr. Miracle's help to get out to the fourth world to get some answers that they need to make this cure. And we're gonna pick up tomorrow in issue 4. I'm Hossman. See you then.